letting this person in. Get your packets out. This time we're getting out the convection current packet. We're going to finish that off.
Bless you.
So guys, your instructions are to get out your packet. There shouldn't be any conversation that isn't about the packet. So you didn't have the packet last time I recall. I found it. No, I didn't find it. I never collected it. I never asked you guys to bring it in. No, you don't have to. So there's a student that slams the door. That's me.
They just come around and grab the door and then slam it. Sweet.
They have to stay in there.
Okay, so you all have your packets out. You should still be in your regular seats. So Antonio, please go back to your regular seat for now. You will have time to work together. So you can look forward to working with the partner. But right now, I need you guys all facing forward and ready to learn. So that you can see the slides. So everybody please face forward. Gabe, can you please face forward? Thank you. So we're going to introduce the topic of weather and climate. And what we've been doing for the last several weeks is learning about the pieces of the puzzle that affect weather. So we want to look first at what is the difference between weather and climate. What is the cycle of, before we do that, I forgot that I had put this in, sorry. What cycle is the basis of our weather that we have learned about? So if we think about weather, what kind of things impact weather? Can you guys think of what impact? Yes, Jen. Temperature, and where does that come from? The temperature that hits the earth or that comes into the earth, where do we get that temperature? The sun. The sun has a huge impact on weather. Yes, Allie?
The atmosphere.
The atmosphere has a huge impact on weather. What about oceans,
Yes.
right? Oceans affect weather because,
it evaporates into the air, but there's too much, it can cause rain.
right, that's really, really good. So you connected the water cycle to the atmosphere, to,
The ocean.
yes, excellent. That was very good. Okay, so what causes precipitation to occur? We just talked about evaporation, or Allie just reminded us of evaporation. What do we call the process of making clouds? In other words, going from gas to liquid. Excellent. Condensation. And so what causes precipitation? What are some factors that cause precipitation? Yes, Amy.
It's how much rain is on the clouds, because when the clouds get too heavy, that's when you'll subside. But also which direction the wind's going, will know which type of precipitation. Because if the wind's going north, that means that it's more likely to snow, and if it's going south, it's more likely to be rain.
Okay, great. So, yes, two things there that you commented on. Wind, the strength and direction of the wind can impact weather. That has a huge impact on weather. Precipitation basically occurs when the clouds get too heavy. But several different things can cause that, including temperature changes, pressure changes are big time important. So what is weather? You guys all know what weather is, but how is it defined scientifically? It is the temporary. So make sure that, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to pass out your notes, guys. So these are just one page. You guys can take one and pass it down.
Yeah.
So this is the transcript of your notes. So this handout is coming back from the front. Make sure you take one and pass it back. He's got some.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay, so now that we are all in possession of the notes, remember that you guys can use these note transcripts on your quiz. So I would strongly recommend putting your name on it. So weather is the temporary behavior of atmosphere. In other words, what's going on in the atmosphere at a certain time? What part of the atmosphere does weather occur in? Allie? Troposphere. Hard for me to say, right? Easy for you. All right. Can you wait until after? Okay. And it also impacts a small geographic area. So again, this is weather versus climate. What do we mean by those words? And weather can change rapidly. So weather is local and it's temporary. Yes, Casey? Right now we're on the notes pages that I just handed you the transcript for the notes. Yeah, just follow along on that page. Okay. So what do you guys think about climate? How is climate different from weather? What would be some ways it might be different? What do you think, Chloe? How would climate be different potentially than weather? We know weather is temporary. We know weather is a small geographic areas, and we know that it can change rapidly. So climate is a totally different factor, a totally different phenomenon, and it's worldwide, okay? So there are several different climates. We're going to go over climate types tomorrow, or later today if we have time. But I want you to understand that weather is literally a fleeting thing most of the time, and it changes due to those factors we just discussed. So the study of weather is meteorology, and we call them meteorologists, right? So that is the study of weather, and that is your friendly weatherman is a meteorologist that you see on TV. So climate, so let's answer that question. How does climate differ from weather? It is long-term, not temporary. So it's the behavior of the atmosphere over hundreds of years. So climate means, what does this particular part of the globe look like in terms of weather most of the time, okay? So even if you have, just because the climate behavior of the atmosphere has to be for a long period of time, that doesn't mean the weather is always the same in that climate. It's still going to have seasonal differences in the weather. But there are climates that are more dry. There are climates that are more, where more precipitation occurs. And so we'll look at we're going to look in detail tomorrow at what those different climates are like. All right, large geographic areas. If they can be the entire top of a continent, it can be the same climate. Very slow to change. So there is climate change, right? We know that climate change is happening, but it happens over a long period of time. It's not going to be like a severe weather occurrence, which is going to pass within at least a few days, okay? All right, very slow to change. So what are some examples of climate? These are not on your notes. Please don't worry about that. I just want you to watch the slides and get an idea of what the major climates are. Because tomorrow your notes will have each of the climates broken down, okay? So polar climate. Do you guys remember when we had a picture of the Earth, when we talked about wind, and you had 0 degrees? What is 0 degrees in relationship to the Earth sphere? Amen.
That is the equator.
That is the equator. Excellent. And so then it counts up from going into the northern hemisphere and going into the southern hemisphere. So we're 0 at the equator, and then we have 30, 60. What degrees are the poles? Yes, Allie?
Negative?
90? You said 90?
No, I said negative.
Oh, okay. They are 90 degrees. This is only important in terms of recognizing where these climates occur, because they occur based on sunlight, right? And you guys recall, what part of the Earth does the sun hit most directly? Yes, Gabe. Exactly. And so all of the sunlight that hits the Earth as you go away from the equator is less intense and at a less sharp angle. So it is lesser and covers larger areas. So the polar climate is at the 90 degree to 60 degree latitude. The features are cool summers, but it is cold year round and very dry. Temperate, does this sound familiar? True seasons, variety of climate patterns, moderate precipitation. Does that sound like home? We live in a temperate climate. So that's between 30 and 60 degrees, and again, there's true seasons, moderate precipitation, both rain and snow.
Fucking shoe back, Dominic.
Falchion,
Why are we cussing?
what's happening?
I'm scared.
What's going on? Oh, okay. Oh man, that is so irritating when that happens. That happened to me recently too, and it totally ruined my day for that moment. You can put it back on. Okay guys, attention up here. So tropical climate is between 30 degrees and the equator, so it's that closest area to the equator. And tropical climates have no winter season per se. So this is the area that's near and closest to the equator. The high temp occurs year-round and a lot of rainfall. So that makes sense. You guys are familiar with the word tropical, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Mediterranean is a lot like tropical during the summer, in that it's hot but it's dry. So it is hot like tropical, but it's drier in the summer. So Mediterranean, what do you guys think of when I say Mediterranean? Amen? Food. What'd you say?
Food.
Food. Very good answer. It's almost lunchtime, right? Brooklyn.
Think of the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean
That's what I
Sea.
thought.
That's right. And what about, like, have you guys learned, I know you guys covered ancient history and social studies. Yes,
I
Doctor?
just think of olives when I think of
Olives? Okay. What part of the earth do we find Mediterranean? Do you guys know that? Tell me some countries that are in the Mediterranean. Amen.
One of the countries that is in the Mediterranean is Cyprus.
Greece, okay. Yeah, like basically all those cities, Mesopotamia, all those ancient histories that I know you guys covered that in social studies. Most of those are located in that area. But essentially, this is a really specific climate that only occurs near the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and then mountains. Mountains obviously occur in various locations. We're going to talk soon about how mountains form. Mountains are cold, of course, and the snowfall is the type of precipitation that you will see in mountains. Arid. Is that familiar word to anyone? Yes, amen?
It means that the air is just really like watery and there's a bit more water in the air.
Means it's a bit more water. It's actually, I'm trying to think of what you might be thinking of tepid. Arid is actually dry, and there's little to no rainfall, little to no vegetation. So this can occur in different locations, and we'll get into that deeper tomorrow. All right, what is climate? What is climate? How is it different from weather? Do I need to check iPads right now to see what people are on their iPads doing? If you're on Google Classroom, that's great. Okay. Okay. So, how do we define climate? Allie.
It's like the atmosphere.
Yes, that is exactly right. Long-term behavior. So weather is temporary, climate is long-term. Guys, I need your attention up here. Okay, so what about size of the area that it refers to? Is it a large or small geographical area? Allie?
Large.
Large, yes. And what are tropical climates where are tropical climates most likely to be? Amen.
Around the equator.
Around the equator. Did you have something to add, Brooklyn? Okay. All right, and so now what does arid mean? We just covered it, but let's think about how much of that have you guys connected to? Because what does the word make you think? Air, right? Arid. Think about dry air when you think of arid. Good. Okay. So what factors affect weather and climate? We talked a little bit about this, but remember that, yes, you know, the sun affects climate, the water cycle affects climate, the atmosphere we know affects climate, and we just talked about how the ocean affects climate. Dominic?
He threatened me with his water.
You guys need to cut it out.
Dominic didn't do it. It's literally not that
Guys.
big a deal because he took the shoe.
Hey, this is not what we need to be talking about. You guys take a look at page 31 to 37 right now and start working on that. You have enough information to begin working on that.
Oh, wait, I have one. I don't have it.
Okay, I'll bring it right to you.
I don't have that.
Tequila.
Nah. Probably Corona.
So, looking at page 31. 31, you can see that 31 to 37. Guys, let's move on. Let's move on. So the first part of those pages are reading passages. You need to read those passages, and then you need to answer the various questions that are on the following pages. So now that I have your attention, let me just finish going through these slides. Antonia, can you take a seat, please? Facing forward. Gabe? So what factors affect, yes, Allie? Yes, you can. So we talked about this a little bit, right? The sun, water, atmosphere, and ocean. And I know I just left off with that. So you guys, do you feel like you have a bit of understanding of how these different things affect climate, affect the weather? Great, okay. So how specifically does sun affect the weather? Amen.
It heats up the water which evaporates water, which sends up the clouds and rain.
Right, exactly. It provides the heat that heats up the water that then evaporates. How about the atmosphere? Again, we know where the weather occurs, which layer of the atmosphere? Allie?
Troposphere.
That's right, you said it right. Troposphere. So you guys remember the layers of the atmosphere that we just covered recently? Can you guys stop working for just a moment? There's only a couple more slides and then I'll let you get back to it, okay? And it's good that you will be able to work together. So the troposphere, which is about 10 kilometers in altitude, is where weather happens. Just wanted to remind you of that because we had covered that before. Okay, so what is happening in detail with weather at a certain time? In other words, what did you guys learn from the video? What happens when air masses collide? Very good. So Khaleesi said it creates warm fronts and cold fronts. And so you have different types of fronts. Yes, you may. So an air mass is defined as a body of, guys, I need your attention just for 5 more minutes. I know I've been talking a bit too long today. But we just have a couple more slides. Air masses are bodies of air with a certain temperature and moisture. They can be warm or cold. They can contain a lot of moisture or not a lot of moisture. Fronts are places where air masses meet, specifically. And there are 4 types of fronts. Khaleesi mentioned warm and cold. There's also occluded and stationary. So each kind of front brings a different type of weather. So these worksheet pages are designed to have you guys go through and figure out what the different fronts are like, and what you can determine based on the type of front. What kind of weather goes along with which type of front. So remember that it's air masses that come to meet each other, and that produces a front. And so then the fronts come in the 4 different types. So what the goal is for you guys to understand which weather front is associated with which weather type for today. Okay? Go ahead and go back to your work. And these slides are on Google Classroom, should you want to refer to them.
I think I got
So you're going to answer this or this. There's three possible answers to the question. So during the day, the air, yes, very good. That's right.
Oh yeah,
Okay, you guys. All right, I just want to know exactly what happened. Oh, you were saying, okay. Can I see what you got? Yes? Do you have headphones? You can wear headphones later as long as you continue to work. I have some headphones. Just a second. Okay, so it's your convection front. Do you want headphones? There you go. You're welcome. Okay, let me see what I can do to get this back in order.
Hold on, let me make sure. Just in case. Extra credit.
The coloring is extra because it's only a couple of points. If you want to work on extra credit, I would do the extra credit that's in the weather packet, pages 1841. It's better use of your time.
So this has to be done.
That page has to be done, but you don't have to color it in. It was for people who finished early. This gave it to
It's not working.
Right here it tells the 4 major air masses, and it tells you what the characteristics are. So you should read that.
And when we first started doing it, I was like,
That totally makes sense.
when are we ever going to use it?
That's just math. Actually, the T is you can't control that.
Guys, I don't mind you visiting as long as you are focusing and working on the work as well, because you only have today and tomorrow to complete the assignment.
It just worked a second ago. Oh yeah, because it comes off.
I did, but I took it home. Would you like a new pencil?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you've used that one to the point where it's just tired.
It's really small.
You're welcome.
Let's go. All right.
She said you guys should not be listening to songs or anything like that. If you're on your iPad, it should be Google Classroom, okay? Guys, just raise your hand if you have a question. Yes, Emma.
What kind of fun is see that?
Probably going to do a little pause.
This one's the warm side.
The hottest is over the north is 136 degrees Fahrenheit.
So much that I'm not gonna do. I don't know why. I'm gonna throw this away. And you take your fridge.
Oh yeah.
In your binder.
The weather is
Go take a look in your binder.
Remember said
Ryder, are you working? Okay. That's great.
We definitely did this page wrong.
We're taking them here.
Stop running that.
Somebody's notes fell on the floor. Guys, you know what? We have exactly 2 minutes left, so you can start packing up. Yes. We will be continuing on with these pages tomorrow. So listen. Guys, please listen for 1 second. Once I have everyone's attention, and then you guys are going to be dismissed in a second, so I ask Scooter, Rooter, Cooter. I know it's hard to read group. You guys listen for 1 second, please. So this assignment is going to be due tomorrow. You'll have time tomorrow to work on it. Okay? Yes.